Keep on in to the NFL with Peter King, a football morning in America, NBC Sports as well, and with the all-new 2 to 6 Willard and Dibs here on 95.7 The Game. Peter, I just want to, A, welcome you in, and B, let you know that we're very, very big fans of your work and very, very excited to get to talk to you here on the show. So thank you so much for doing it.
Hey, well, thanks a lot. Good to be with you guys, and love my appreciation of the station, or my affiliation with the station, and happy to be on with you.
We'll take appreciation and affiliation. We're into both of those things, and all kinds of quarterback stuff to get to. I think Aaron Rodgers and Lamar Jackson are on everyone's mind, but can we start with the 49er quarterback situation? And I wonder how you'd answer this, Peter. The signing of Sam Darnold means what in terms of what the 49ers think about Trey Lance?
Nice insurance policy. That's what it means. Because, look, right now the 49ers want to be protected at the quarterback position. Okay? And, no matter how much anybody truly still loves Trey Lance, has faith in him, whatever, the simple fact is Trey Lance has not done it yet. And what Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch did is they ensured their 2023 season could be about as good as it can be. Because, look, here's what they've done in the last few days. They have essentially taken their the strength of their team right now, which is their defense, obviously, and they have fortified their defense with probably the best player on the defensive front in all of free agency. And I have to say that after I got over the initial surprise of them getting Javon Hargrave, I said, I know exactly why they did this, because they are not sure what they're going to see at the quarterback position this year. I mean, do you have any idea who's starting opening day? Probably not. And what happens if Trey Lance wins the job and then performs poorly early on, and Brock Purdy isn't ready and his elbow is not good? Well, they have a proven fireman in the bullpen now in Sam Darnold, who actually played pretty well this year in Carolina. And look, one thing that we know about Kyle Shanahan is quarterbacks play better when they play for Kyle Shanahan. So I think it was a real smart signing, and it was a signing that was not all that costly. And I think it was a real good idea. Plus, the last thing I would say is, about Hargrave is that, look, that there's a good chance you're going to be playing some 21 to 16 games this year. And so you want to have your defense as strong, especially strong up the middle as it can be. And I think that's what the 49ers have done.
Is the tandem of these signings, Hargrave and Darnold, a nod to Kyle Shanahan and his ability to make the most out of quarterbacks who maybe aren't the highest paid guys in the league?
Well, look, I saw a lot of people who said, oh, my God, they should go get Brady. They should talk him out of retirement. Or they should go, bigger than just a backup quarterback. And I disagree fervently. I think everyone is expecting somehow, some way for, Brock Purdy to turn into a pumpkin at midnight tonight. I mean, what gives you the feeling that Brock Purdy is suddenly going to start throwing interceptions and turning the ball over this next year? Look, in his before the championship game in Philadelphia, the ill-fated championship game, Brock Purdy had played 8 games since he took over the job, and he threw 3 interceptions and never fumbled. And look, I just think one of the things that you have to realize is that it's not always going to be that great. But to me, I think he did enough and proved enough that when he's healthy, he should be the starting quarterback of this team. Now they have insurance with two guys. And look, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know who's going to step up this summer. We'll see. We don't even know how healthy Brock Purdy is going to be on Labor Day weekend. So essentially, I think it's a wait-and-see thing, but I think they're fortunate right now to have depth at a position that is still kind of a mystery.
Peter King with us here, Willard and Dibs, 95-7 the game. Peter, the 49ers grab Hargrave, but then they let Omenihu and Ebukam out the door and clear space. There is a perception out there that maybe they're getting ready to do something else big. Do you agree? What do you think's next?
I don't necessarily think they're going to do anything big. I think one of the things that you have to do in today's football is get ready for the second wave of free agency. If I were the 49ers, I would wait because, look, I wrote this in my column this week that the middle class of football is being obliterated as we speak. There just aren't nearly the number of prominent free agents signed this year as there were in any other year. And the reason is that teams said we are not overpaying for guys who we don't think are that great. And so honestly, that is what has happened now. The 49ers would be smart, honestly. And look, Omenihu is, and I'm sure I'm mispronouncing his name, I mean, he had some big moments for this team this year or last year. And so to me, I kind of look at where they are with that as simply, making sure that when the second wave of free agency begins in a week or so, that they have enough money to go get guys who they've targeted, but who they've targeted at lower bonuses and salaries.
Is that third wave that might still be to come not until the draft? And have the 49ers kind of cracked?
No, the third wave will happen post-draft. And, the third wave, quite honestly, I always think of that as, around June 1st, because there's going to be a bunch of guys cut in early June and who are going to be on the street who people might not expect. And so I think the third wave really happens then. And until then, I think the prices will continue to moderate and in some cases really, crash because teams just, and look, and this isn't about Lamar Jackson, but I still can't find a team that might, not saying that there won't be one, but I still can't find a team that might give Lamar Jackson the kind of guaranteed money that he seems to be expecting.
No, I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to ask you about the wave before the wave and the draft and whether or not the Niners have actually cracked the code with all these comp picks. But while we're talking Lamar Jackson, what team out there do you think might want to jump into the breach and give him the kind of guaranteed money that he's looking for?
I don't think there is one. There could be one. It doesn't do a team any good. It doesn't do the Atlanta Falcons any good at all to basically advertise that they're going to be going after Lamar Jackson. Not that I think they are, but there's a lot of reasons why you would keep it very quiet, and most of which is about the incumbent quarterback on your team. Not that Desmond Ridder deserves, and we're talking Atlanta, and I don't think Atlanta's going to go after him. But what I am saying is that if Atlanta were to go after him and realize early on that there's no way it's going to work, they would hope that it just stayed quiet so that Desmond Ridder doesn't view it as a repudiation of his, of him being the starting quarterback. I would just make one other point about all this. I think that one of the things that has been forgotten probably conveniently, and I'm not sure exactly why. But one of the things that's been forgotten, honestly, is that, Lamar Jackson is a great football player. Of that, there is no doubt. And he's had some great moments early in his NFL career. But the fact is, he has missed 34% of the snaps the last 2 years. He wants all of his guaranteed money. He has started and finished one game in December and January in the last 2 years. And so, to me, you really have to, I believe, you've got to be realistic about who your quarterback is. And if you want to respect your quarterback, I think respect is a word that's thrown around a lot with players, of course. But you want to respect your quarterback, but you also want to respect the team. And, to me, to give Lamar Jackson a 5-year fully guaranteed contract at $45 million or whatever it is, I think is absolutely irresponsible.
So, Peter, it's so interesting because we were having a healthy conversation about this not only earlier, but over the last few days. If I'm the Baltimore Ravens, I go, look, we don't like the Browns' contract. We don't like Kyler Murray's contract. We don't like Russell Wilson's contract. So you can say that that's the market, but those are bad deals. And Lamar can come back and say, why do I have to be the one to reset the market the way that all you owners want it to be? So if that is the argument, who's right?
I don't know that anybody is absolutely right, but the fact is, it is Baltimore's decision. And as of now, apparently, according to Lamar Jackson, they have offered him a 3-year fully guaranteed contract, or a contract of 3 or more years, of which the first 3 years worth $133 million are totally guaranteed. And, Lamar Jackson evidently, because he has not agreed to this, evidently wants more. And so, to me, if I were Lamar Jackson and somebody offered me 3 years, $133 million, that would make me a free agent again at age 29, meaning, clearly in my prime. And so to be able to get a contract that is whatever that is, $44 million a year, fully guaranteed for 3 years, when the last 2 years, you've started and finished one game down the stretch in December and January. I think that we could argue all we want about how, they called plays that got him hurt, or they've exposed him to a lot of punishment because he runs a lot. I mean, okay, that's fine, but it's a little bit of a silly argument to say, just guarantee him the money for 5 years, because if he gets hurt as much as he has and you don't have any options at quarterback because you have so much invested guaranteed in your current quarterback, the general manager is going to get fired. So, again, I respect Lamar Jackson can ask for whatever he wants to ask, but I sure wouldn't give him. I mean, I would probably max it out at 2 fully guaranteed years, but the Ravens evidently offered him 3.
Yeah, it's fascinating to see how that one's going to play out. And I guess the even bigger headline is the Aaron Rodgers saga in terms of, yes, he's going to the Jets. It seems to be a fait accompli, as the French would say. But what will be the compensation? And how do you think this is going to work out in the Big Apple for a curious, darkness-loving quarterback?
I don't think being in New York is really going to have that much of an effect on him versus, say, being in Green Bay. He does have some rabbit ears when it comes to the media. He hears everything, gets mad at Adam Schefter and all that stuff. And I don't quite understand why that happens, but every great quarterback now is a national figure. It's like Steph Curry. Yes, he plays, in the Bay Area, and his home court is in San Francisco. But Steph Curry is covered a lot nationally by ESPN, by everybody who loves basketball. And so he is getting attention everywhere. That's the same thing with Aaron Rodgers. He will get attention everywhere, no matter where he plays. And that's why I don't think it's that big a deal that, the big bad New York media now can devour Aaron Rodgers. I don't think it's going to be a very impactful thing. I think how it works out is going to be really interesting to see because, look, I've covered the schedule a lot in the NFL, and I have somebody told me recently that, the NFL really is not going to make a decision on a lot of its marquee games until they see where Aaron Rodgers signs. If I believe that if he had signed with Vegas, the opening game of this NFL season would have been Vegas at Kansas City on Thursday night, September 8th. But now I wouldn't be surprised if it is the Jets at Dallas to open the Sunday night football season on NBC. What's going to happen now is that Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets are going to instantaneously become a national team. When they have not been a national team, I don't even think they really were one back when they were a factor 10, 12 years ago. So I think that's one part of it. The other part of it is he'll figure it out, and they'll figure out the compensation. And I think the Green Bay is really going to force the Jets to pay more than they want to, especially because Rodgers probably is only going to play a couple more years.
Peter, as we said, so excited to have you aboard. Wonderful to hear from you today. Thank you so much for doing it, man.
Okay, all the best to you guys. Take care.
All right, there it is. Peter King